Going on, everybody? 1 month later, here we're back with an actual comic book review. It's been about a month, 1 month later. So we're gonna talk about future state titles here. Nick and Nuno have both done an absolute huge amount of research that I had no intention of doing ever. so I'm very happy that they did it. And then after that, we're gonna talk about a little bit of Deceased. Now that it's finished, Tom Taylor did an amazing job on it. Um, Let me take this chance to say, please follow on Twitch. If you can't follow us live or tune in live, you can always catch us on YouTube or on podcasts in Spotify, Apple, Google, Anchor, all that stuff. So go like, subscribe to all those things, please. Um, Other than that, without further ado, Nick, take us away with the
All right.
future state.
So January and February have been the future state months, where all the DC comic book titles, most of them have completely stopped, and we're getting a glimpse in the potential possible futures on this weird new timeline of the DC universe. So there's about probably 20 to 25 titles, but they basically break down into several different plot lines and shared reoccurring events. So the biggest, which happens in like a 5 to 6 year gap, is the Gotham stories featuring the Magistrate. Which at the end of the current Batman run, we have a new mayor who's just elected out of the events of Joker War. So he's instituted this privatized police force called the Magistrate, and they've caused a bunch of problems for Gotham. And all these different titles have involved between the next Batman, Nightwing, Dark Detective, Catwoman, Robin Eternal, and Harley Quinn. All these books dealt with the same problem, which is the Magistrate and this no mask rule and this, this world that thinks Batman's dead. There's side stories in the Batman and Dark Detective stories with grifters, Red Hood, outside and Gotham City Sirens. Um, the earliest timeline issue we have is the Batman and Superman books, which happen right after the current Batman run leads into Future State. So Magistrate has just been instituted, and it kind of explains how it gets to its point. At the same time, in this 6 year gap, we don't know where Superman really is, but we will. We're only one issue into Superman Worlds of War, which is going to say where he is at that time span. We also have for the first 2 issues, the only 2 issues I think of Superman, Son of Metropolis, which a bunch of books in this event reference Jonathan Kent putting Metropolis in the dome. That event is chronicled in these 2 issues. You also get Kara Superwoman that happens at the tail end of that 5 to 6 year event of the Magistrate and the stuff happening to Superboy, well, Superman now. You then also have 2 more issues that happen with Suicide Squad happening at the tail end of all the Magistrate stuff. This is a weird Justice League, which is organized by Amanda Waller. You have villains like the Talon pretending to be Batman, and you have a whole bunch of stuff. Clayface is the Martian Manhunter, and you don't have Jonathan Kent. You have Connor Kent. You get to see where Connor is in this whole future state thing, and the actual Suicide Squad is going after them. The other title that's happening after all the Magistrate stuff and the Superman stuff ends is Justice League. This is probably 8 years after the start of the Magistrate thing. You have the current next Batman, current Wonder Woman, the new Flash, you have a female Aquawoman, and you have the Green Lantern from Far Sector. And and that is your Justice League. And this is happening in a world where there's not a lot of villains, not crime is on a very low thing. This Justice League has really saved the world and kept it safe. And they literally say that this Batman did what Bruce Wayne couldn't, and he saved Gotham. In these books, it's going to lead to next Batman and Nightwing saving Gotham. Really interesting what's going on in this time and all the different things, how they all tie in to like, why is Batman dead? How do we do this without Batman? This new Batman, Nightwing leading a resistance and all this stuff, all these characters, and I know that at the end of it, they're all going to work together, save it. And I'll let Nuno, before I talk about the last three issues, two titles that are a part of this. Nuno, you want to talk about some of the timeline stuff you got?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go off of some of the timeline that I've been working on, but of course DC dropped their timeline, so it's kind of like a mesh. So I'm not gonna take no credit for it. I was referencing some of the stuff they have, but like they saying that we start at 2025, and each issue, like Nick mentioned, you can kind of tell which issue is ahead of which issue. And in the 2025, I'm just going to go through some titles and stuff, and I'll personally say which titles I liked and which one were good in my personal, but I mean, they're all good. You got to check them out. They're short. They're not too long. So at 2025, we have Arkham Knights. It was a side story. Super dope. I loved it. We got Batgirls. We got Batman and Superman, Batman, Catwoman, Gotham City Sirens, and we have Harley Quinn. Underrated. Harley Quinn's story was super underrated. It gives you a backside on what's going on in the Magistry. Kind of let you know how are they able to do what they're doing to these villains and superheroes. I mean, it kind of gives you an insight on it. Super dope. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but you need to read it because you have villains and superheroes kind of working with the Magistry. So it's really dope. After that, they say that we're at 2027, and that's where Dark Detective and Matt's favorite comic, The Flash, is happening, and Teen Titans. That's 2027. They're happening in that little time span. Shazam's happening in 2029. So we have kind of like a 5-year span. Shazam, I liked it. It wasn't that bad. Literally, it had a bunch of cool stuff. In 2030, we got Aquaman, Black Racer. And mind you that some of these stories that I'm mentioning are like little arc stories that are in the back comics, and they're just kind of referencing different points in Metropolis that's domed up right now, or in Gotham, which is kind of like a police state. Horrible, but I like how they're implementing real life stuff that's going on in real life, like law reform. Better to say law reform happening all across the world, and here is a comic showing us hardcore like oppression of law enforcement. It's a cool take on it nonetheless. At 2035, we have the Last Lanterns, which is like, I feel like a whole story by itself, because Lantern stories are stories of their own, and they kind of take on their own mythos, and they take their own like character. It's a bunch of lanterns with no rings. I mean, I don't know, Nick, what did you think about the Last Lanterns? Did you
I
like
haven't
that?
actually read the Green Lantern story. I'm not sure about that.
Super dope. I won't spoil it, but I mean, obviously, it's the Last Lantern, so not a lot of rings going around. So you kind of get to see. I would call it like a pirate, like a smuggler, Star Wars smuggler pirate story. Very dope. Very dope. And then we go to Justice League, which what Nick was saying is the wrap up for these future state titles that are dealing with Gotham and Metropolis, and we get to see where these stories basically led up. And I'm not gonna spoil nothing because Nick didn't spoil Justice League, but you got to see it. It's pretty dope. Like what happens in the comic book, I think is pretty
You get
cool.
a non-binary Flash.
Right.
I'm gonna put that out there.
You didn't spoil nothing. So I can't say nothing about Justice League. It's not what you think it is. Like it's good.
It is what you. They try
hard.
to learn from the mistakes.
Yeah, it's hard. And at 2050, we have Tarzor L. We got Superwoman happening. We got Yara Flor, which is the new Wonder Woman. So we see her going through hell trying to get her sister back. I'm not gonna spoil again, nothing much. very cool story. It gave me Hercules vibes throughout the whole thing. He's fighting a Hydra. She has a Pegasus. It's cool. It's very cool. It's a fresh take on her.
Good up.
Yeah.
I just gotta jump in and I second your assessment of Wonder Woman. Dude, I got Hercules vibes like from the very beginning of the story, and you feel like she is on this quest. So I have to recommend this title. He's gonna be.
It's weird how it gives you Hercules vibes. I felt like I'm watching the Disney Hercules.
Exactly, and I loved it. It has comedy. It has that adventure aspect. You're rooting for her. You're interested in like who she is. She's gonna be getting her own title, her own ongoing title. This is a perfect jump in point to anybody that's interested in that. Like Greek / Roman / just mythology in general. Yes.
Yeah, look at her.
Yes.
Yeah, you say all that, but like as I went as I was reading it and all that, I got those same vibes. This is very mythological, and I love me some Greek and Roman mythology. I'm not liking her.
Little creatures, guys. Since we're talking about Wonder Woman, real quick to elaborate on her mythos building. Those little black creatures, they're just like in Hercules, little devil things.
Don't like her, man. Like she's too impulsive. That really just threw me away from her. Whenever they were waiting like at the gates of hell.
That's the beginning of her journey, though. She is impulsive. She is unrefined. She's Batman Year Zero. You know what I mean? Like, and I love that. It felt fun. I was immersed into the story, and I gotta say that the art was absolutely beautiful.
Joel Jones.
Almost all the artwork, every single story I have read in Future State has been top tier, phenomenal, except for the side stories of Mr. Miracle.
Don't say it. Don't say it. He looks
Trash.
dope. I want a toy.
I'm sorry, but
He looks sick.
they're doing it in both. They're doing side stories for Mr. Miracle in both issues of Superman and Metropolis and both issues of Superman World of War. And so far, all three side stories I've read of him are garbage. I'm done with them. Done.
I'm
Art
actually
is terrible. It looks like the guy. It's watercolored. It doesn't make any sense.
It's kind of like a WandaVision. It'll make sense in the future. Like
I'm three episodes in. After the third episode of freaking WandaVision, I was hooked. Third side story, I'm done.
Episode of WandaVision, I was like 6.5. I think.
This Wednesday, I could barely even read it.
Man, guys,
It's not the best. Don't get me wrong.
Are we
It's not
knocking?
the
Are we that comics now?
Alright, so
I've
back to
got
the,
something to say if we're going.
best. Let me just wrap
some
up
bad
the
ratings.
timeline. I got two more dates. Two more dates.
Keep going,
Sorry, go ahead. No, sorry, I just want to jump in and.
I got two more days. No, don't worry. Wonder Woman is epic. So basically, what I talked about so far was all the titles that Nick mentioned. We're at 2025 to 2050. So they're happening in like a 20-30 year time span. And after that, we jump to 3000. Year 3000, we have House of L and Legion of Superpowers. House of L was pretty dope. I liked it. And one of my favorite happening in 4500 is Swamp Thing. It's like a whole green dystopian future, and the Swamp Thing is looking for humans. When he doesn't like humans, we know that he does not mess with humans. In this comic, he's looking for humans. He has children, and it's dope. You definitely got to check it out. And Black Adam, they just set completely in the future. It's happening in 82,000, literally. So I haven't gotten to Black Adam. That's the only
it's a side story.
I read it in Shazam.
Is it
Shazam,
Shazam? This is it.
yeah, I read it. Doctor Tech was in next Batman or something. Justice League. Suicide Squad. That's it.
Yeah, Black Adam completely out. And then we got the End of Time, which is Immortal Wonder Woman, and that's dope. I like Immortal Wonder.
So, in that, 5 to 7 year gap, which the main bulk of the stories happen. There's 2 more titles that tie into each other that happen that I didn't mention. Is the 2 Flash issues, and they end up and they tie into the beginning of Teen Titans. The Teen Titans run looks like it's going to be really good.
Right.
You get a lot of Deathstroke, and you get the introduction of the first ever canon Red X. But I'll let my friend Matt talk about the first issue Flash and how he's probably not going to read the second issue.
I'm gonna read the second issue. It's just stuck in New Zealand. My comic shop didn't get it this week, so I've heard a lot from you, Nick. You've promised me that it's redeemed issue 1.
It's done. Before you rant, I'm gonna just say it's a shitty first issue with a shitty freaking story, and the second issue did everything they could to wrap it up and make it as bearable as possible. It did a lot of really good stuff, but with a really shitty story, there's not much you could salvage.
Yeah.
Spoilers if people are watching this and haven't read The Flash or haven't read what's one Tom King done where with Wally where he does
Heroes in Crisis.
Heroes in
Yeah.
Crisis. Alright, if you haven't read those, then just turn away, whatever, turn mute, whatever. Anyway, I don't like the fact that fucking Wally West, all these years, he was rated the best Flash. He was rated in the top 5 DC superheroes of all time. Everyone else going to come back, and they fucking make him a killer. I don't care if you're fucking if you're brainwashed. No superhero should be able to kill, even if they're brainwashed. And now I'm guessing issue 2 might, damn it, whatever. But I'm just getting fucking sick of DC just watered down storyline from Heroes in Crisis. This is going to bring me into a new segment I want to introduce. Right? Called Let's Put It in the Toilet Bag.
Donkey of the day. Donkey of the day.
He had this next to him the whole time. He had this next to him the whole time.
This is all that this fucking book is worth. Toilet paper. And as you can see, I've already got my Ben Diaz Action Comics and Superman run in there. That's been in there since he started it. So I'm never going to run out of toilet paper, to be honest. So let's just put that in me here because it's going to be my ass wipe when it's
breaking hard.
When it goes to phase 3 over here in Melbourne again. I'm going to need toilet paper because I'm going to buy it. Right? So there we go. And while I'm at it, let's just throw this one in there too because it's just a watered down storyline. We've already seen the bottled version of Metropolis. We've already seen it. Get original. Right? That can go in here too. And this one here. Okay, now it's just a spit on Suicide Squad. There's a spit on just the team. Okay? After the amazing work my boyfriend Tom Taylor done, okay, this is just an absolute piss in his face. So that there is going to be Nick. If you want, you can throw your Mr. Miracles in there too. If you want. There we go.
I liked it. You got to read the second issue because it
That's
makes
all
it
those
okay.
issues were good for. Other than that, the rest of the issues were all fucking.
I'm gonna say my favorite thing about Future State is the costume they put Kara Zor-El in Superman of Metropolis. Because she looks badass.
Yeah. Look like
She don't need no skirt. I don't need her to have a skirt. She looks like a
that
fucking
dangerous
badass.
ex-girlfriend.
She don't need no skirt. I don't care about no skirt. I don't need no crop top. She is a super woman.
What do you guys think? What do you think is going to be the end of all this Future State? He thinks the next game.
Oh, I think at the end of Future State, we're going to find out the whole world is taken over by Cybeast. Which is, Cyborg was somehow fused with
Yeah.
Beast Boy.
And they talk in like different phrases. Like
Dude,
they're
it's
talking,
so
show
cool.
you Cyborg
It's-
talking, and we're at the point where they both Beast Boy.
But like they're best friends. Like that's the funny part is that they're best friends. And when he morphs into animals, they're like mechanical.
They're Transformers.
So a question for you guys that are much more well versed in DC than I am, but what are you guys' thoughts on the direction of like the overarching villain, I guess, because I feel like in DC the last couple of years, it's just one big ass, like multi-universe villain that's gonna destroy the whole like DC.
Like the Marvel guy, right? Like the
Yeah.
Marvel guy.
Going up the fucking.
Yeah, but I guess DC has gone very 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 cosmic, right? In their like overarching, villain with with what was it Dark Knight's Metal, and then the other villain, I can't remember her name.
Prometheum.
Just the Purtus, whatever it is.
Yeah, so and I feel like it's this cataclysmic, and then Brainiac with convergence, like all of that shit is just it's just very 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 overarching. You guys feel after Future State's done that they're gonna bring it back more to like I guess.
Well, if you look at Infinite Frontier, the cover, it kind of looks like that other one. What is it? Great Frontier or whatever. Which was more of like a World War II kind of era.
Yeah.
So if you compare it to me, it's kind of like a comparison of look at Infinite Frontier. Yes, we're gonna bring in the multiverse of all sorts of different dimensions and whatnot, but it is gonna be more. It's gonna be grounded.
It
Yeah.
looks from the teasers we've gotten, it looks like DC is gonna focus individually on each like brand. Because like you see a lot of stuff going on, like being advertised with Batman post Joker War, and that's gonna be like a huge focus with the Flash. They basically come out and said that Wally West is going to be the new permanently.
Killer, new Flash, the
I
killer.
don't like it. I like Wally.
What do you mean you don't like Wally West?
Wally West is the
Like,
best
every
Flash,
time I
mate.
say I don't like Wally West, everyone's attacking. And that's why I'm laughing at Matt because it's so ironic. Like Flash comic doing because I love it. Yeah, I mean, turn everyone, make it bad, make it bad.
I just like that they brought back all these characters in this last Flash run leading into Death Metal. There's all these characters that have been gone for so long, and they wiped out that whole like Rebirth thing where everyone came back and people don't remember certain people like Connor Kent. Like people didn't remember Connor Kent. People didn't remember Bart. People didn't remember Wally. Like they brought back all these characters. This reset has allowed them to bring back all these fan favorite characters. And now they can do new characters. They're now able to do stories like the next Batman Second Son. The stuff with the new Wonder Woman. They're able to do all these weird new things while also taking the fan favorite ongoings and just focusing on building them back up to what they were. Because there was, I don't remember what Future State story it is that introduced Gold Beetle, but she's apparently going to be like a character in Flash Run that's coming up with Wally. You got Max Mercury's back, Bart Allen's back. Wally West kids are alive and have powers. Jesse Quick is back. You got Jay Garrick. You have who's the new Chinese Flash? You have the Chinese Flash. She's there.
Avery.
You have Wallace West. You have this huge team of speedsters, and apparently they're gonna make Wally in charge again. Hopefully, Wally rebuild his reputation with his family. So that's all I want out of this Infinite Frontier. I want things to go back to the way they were when like the 90s Wally. Perfect.
So we haven't heard from Carlo yet with this future title, so I'll have him wrap up the future title segment of this
All
future
right,
state.
so welcome to Carlos Corner. We're gonna go with the good, bad, and the ugly, and the okay. So for the good, so out of the future states, out of January, this is the good. That's the next Batman. Let me turn off my background so you guys can see as I.
Someone naked in your background.
So this is the good. I like the splash page where Katana is like going through the roof, and you can
Oh,
see
with the outsider story.
It's happening in 45 seconds.
yeah, and you can follow the bubbles, so you can. It's easy to read, and then how they transition from story to story. So like the side stories, it's an easy transition. The bad, I'm gonna go with the flat because it was just a boring story, and they had these helmets, and they're communicating, and weird and kind of lame. It's like I've lost. I mean, this timeline is already all over the place, and what's going on with the helmets is like.
They're the think cap. It's one of his villain's weapons. The think cap, thinking cap.
I didn't get it. And then the ugly was Superman Metropolis. I got this book for the cover. I love Frank Cho. I'll get any of his covers. But I agree with Nick. Her Supergirl's outfit was amazing. She looks really badass.
Amazing. I would love to see that come back. I hope that's her permanent outfit.
Yeah. But yeah, they have like a panel where like the brain villain is explaining like it's kind of insulting to the reader. It's like, oh, I'm the brain. You served as Brainiac's last one of traditional life, and he just like talking. And then the okay, I do like the Hercules. She's badass. It's like a fun issue to read. It's not too serious. It's kind of funny and like laid back, and yeah. There you have it. Thank you for attending.
Nice one. Nice one.
All right.
Everybody go read Man Bat. It's the best issue DC's put out all year.
That's it from you, Nick. Someone mute Nick. That's done. Done.
All right.
Check out Man Bat.
I'm just saying, Matt ain't putting that in his toilet bag.
Nah, no way.
No.
Beautiful
Alright.
book.
So to go into the
This
into
goes into the tissue box.
I don't know what kind of freaky shit you into, man, bro. Issue box, lube and shit, and bats, man.
let's just go ahead and move to the next part now. We don't need to worry about what Matt does. All right? Let's just go on.
Well, as a segue, let's talk about Tom Taylor in the seats.
Exactly. That's another part of your tissue box, right? Tom Taylor. Anyway.
Nightwing.